Welcome to CSGuitars, the science of loud. There are a great many spooky sounds out there. The creaking of an old door upon its hinges, the deep howling of a fell wind in the bitter cold of night, and footsteps, disembodied, drawing closer, heralding an unseen foe. Beyond the world of movie Foley artistry, we can use guitars and effects to generate some scary soundscapes of our own. Of course, there are many effects pedals out there, some of them very specialised at making unsettling sounds, but I want to try and recreate some classic scary movie soundscapes using some fairly conventional effects. The wailing of ghosts emulated through a vibrato-rich, theremin-like sound is a classic motif of horror and sci-fi genres, but you don't need to be an expert theremin player to achieve that kind of sound. I'm using 3 pedals on my board here, the first of which being the Walrus Juliana, which is a chorus pedal, but it very importantly allows me to select just the vibrato sound. This gives me a regular, deep pitch fluctuation which mimics the wailing of a tortured spirit. We're looking at a medium speed with high depth here. This is followed by another Walrus pedal, the Mako D1 delay. This digital delay gives me a lot of control over how the repeats are going to sound, so it makes an excellent choice for getting some stranger repeats. I have this set for reverse delay with a high number of repeats, and they all have a nice aged, degrading sound. That's then going into the TC Electronics sub and up for a bit of polyphonic octaving applied after the delays. Adding these voices above and below the original note will help add to that ghostly vibe. And finally, to make this whole thing work, I'll be using a handheld sustainer, like the EBow, and a glass slide. The EBow will add violin-like swells and sustain to the strings, while the slide offers a smooth glissando, combined together, giving us a very vocal, ghostly effect. Since the sustainer is powerful enough to drive the pickups into distortion, I'll be rolling the guitar's volume back a small way to weaken the pickup's output, and rolling the tone control all the way off, removing as much treble as possible, as that will allow the sustainer to sound a lot more like a wind instrument. Drone notes and creepy, dissonant melodies give the illusion of an alien world or an unwelcome visitor from some other plane of reality. 3 pedals make up this board again, starting with the TC Electronic Pipeline Tremolo set to a slow, deep, square wave. This abrupt modulation of the volume will give the impression of the beating of a mechanical heart in the depths of some space engine or evil machine. We're once again using the Mako D1, but this time on the digital setting because that allows us to bit crush the repeats for some creepy artifacted delay. And finally, one of my favourite pedals, the Keeley Caverns, is there to add a huge modulated reverb onto the whole sound. This gives our drone notes an ethereal quality, like a huge imposing force bearing down upon us. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators on topics like graphic design and illustration, video editing and photography, and music theory and production. These classes are all curated specifically for learning, so you won't have to suffer the interruption of adverts, and there's new and original content being created all of the time. It can be difficult to stay motivated when working in an ever-changing online environment. Old techniques can stop working, and re-evaluating the way we present ourselves to the world becomes a necessity. Hamza Khan's class, Do Things, Tell People, The Power of Personal Branding, is giving me fresh ideas on how to maintain my business, and it could help you too if you're looking for that competitive edge to nail that promotion or build your online empire. Of course, if you'd rather just brush up on your indoor gardening or watercolour technique, Skillshare has classes for those too. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial, which is plenty of time to learn some new skills. So what are you waiting for? Get lost in your creativity with Skillshare. Adding heavy distortion is a surefire way of making anything sound disgusting. Some of the nastiest distortions I have in my collection are the Boss HM2 for its chainsaw grind, and the Proco Rat, which conjures up images of disease-ridden sewer-dwelling rodents with sharp gnashing teeth. Adding a touch too much reverb to these distortions from the Anasound Elements Spring reverb in its overdrive mode nets as a creepy, distant terror that has some nasty feedback. Finally, self-oscillations from a delay unit are perfect for adding to a soundscape. Here I'm using my tape echo setup and setting the regeneration to the point where it becomes self-sustaining. Manually slowing the transit of the reels adds to the unsettling nature. There are many more scary sounds you could accomplish utilising techniques like pick scrapes, whammy bar dives, and throwing it all into a looper pedal and building these ambiances on top of each other. Leave me a comment with your creepy combinations of effects that you can come up with. Don't forget to click all the buttons you're supposed to make this video viable to the ever-changing whims of the YouTube algorithm. That's all for now. Keep it loud and stay scary.